Welcome to the Burn Online. My name is Mil Rosseau and I will be your facilitator during the Redecision Marathon. First of all, I'm very happy that the Burn offers me an opportunity to practice my passion and in a very good environment because Ian Stewart started a tradition that I hope that will never stop. As to my Redecision credentials, my wife and I worked for several years together with Bob and Mary Goulding, and we were co-therapists with George Thompson in several Redecision marathons. Over the last 30 plus years, my passion, the core of my passion, is in using, teaching, and expanding the Redecision methodology. Expect to experience Redecision, also to practice it, and widen your toolkit in a way that you can use it in therapy, but also across all fields of transactional analysis. Redecision therapy evolved over the years. I first give Mary Goulding an opportunity to give her definition, and then we go to the original 3 steps, which are contract negotiation, impasse clarification, and redecision.
Mary, I'd like to start by asking you if you would just tell us something in general about redecision therapy.
Sure. Redecision therapy is a word we decided on, and we considered it a mix of Gestalt principles, and particularly Gestalt methods, and transactional analysis theory, in which we use the theory of Eric Berne, especially the theory of injunctions and decisions, and use the techniques of Gestalt to get people into their what we call the free child ego state, in order to make new decisions, in order to take off the straitjackets that they put on themselves in the past, so that they learn, so that in one scene they think differently, feel differently, and behave differently from the ways they had permitted themselves. And all of this is in terms of what the client wants. So it's contractual therapy.
The Western Institute for Group and Family Therapy had a number of very high-level faculty members. Most influential one for me was George Thompson, who was a fabulous practitioner and who wrote some very interesting articles on functional and dysfunctional feelings and the use of dream work in redecision. Another one was Ellen Bader, who, together with Pete Pearson, her husband, did some really groundbreaking work in working with couples and doing redecision in and with couples. And the last one that I want to mention is John McNeil, who made his doctoral thesis on the way that redecision works. And he further expanded it, and he made a connection between injunctions, permissions, and the developmental stages coming from Pam Levin. Bob and Mary Goulding always put an emphasis on the 3 elements: contract negotiation, impasse clarification, redecision. And implicitly, they were very concerned about 2 other things, but they didn't mention that explicitly in their books and their writings, which was how to make contact and how to create an atmosphere where redecision can take place. And another thing is that they really spend time and energy in making redecision sustainable. But if you look in the literature, that is not as highlighted as the others. Another expansion comes from John McNeil, who made redecision work a little bit broader, with more entries and more very practical handles to change. Important also is Richard Erskine, who clarifies how come that many people think that you do a redecision in one shot, which is usually not the case. It can, and it's spectacular, and it's wonderful, and in most cases it takes more time. We will cover that issue in the workshop. And then there's Jim Allen, who really put the emphasis on the narratives, that we tell our script stories, and the way that we remember script decisions and that our actual life is influenced is based on stories. And sometimes it's very spooky stories. And then you have to tell people that it's only a phantom in their head. Redecision methodology has a number of tools. One of the most important ones, if you got that right, then 75% of the work is done, is in contracting. In the workshop, we will pay a lot of attention to contracting. A subdivision of contracting is closing escape hatches, just to ensure that you work in a safe environment. Well-known other techniques are the two-chair work and a specific version of that, which is the parent interview, where your client is going and look for the decision-making process and the impact the influential parent figure had. Coming from Jim Allen are the heighteners. It's a confrontation technique in itself. It's by making the script decision very explicit, like, are you going to continue to treat your wife from a 9-year-old perspective? Or something like that. Then we go into dream work. We'll work with narratives. We'll work with stories, and we work in the stories. People tell their script story, and you can work within that same story, or you can tell stories to help people make the necessary redecisions. Confrontation is another very specific technique in redecision work, and here I want to quote Ian Stewart, where he says that a confrontation is clarify the client that there is a gap between the perceived reality and the reality as it is. What is throughout entire work of redeciding, autonomous language is a very important issue, because in the use of language, your clients show them where they go out of their autonomy and they enter script territory. And you have a tool that you can use wherever you want to help them come back on track. Okay, we're almost there. If you want to do some pre-read, which I recommend, is that you read the book of Bob and Mary Goulding, Changing Lives Through Redecision Therapy, and also the chapter on redecision therapy in Mark Widdowson's book on Transactional Analysis, 100 Key Points and Techniques. There are 3 articles that you might want to read also. One is on the script system by Richard Erskine, and I'll make my version of it available through the Byrne office. Then there's the comprehensive article of John McNeil on injunctive messages and stances that heals and the connection with developmental stages, and a very nice article by Jim Allen. The last 3 articles, as I said, I will make them available through the Byrne office. I would really like to close with a permission, and that is, come with a personal objective. What do you want to change today? And you'll get the professional objectives just for free. Oh yes, one more thing. You might have some concerns about participating in the Redecision Marathon online. Well, let me tell you, it works. It's different and it works. And it has an additional advantage. In Mount Madonna, where the Gouldings run their marathons, they always use video feedback. There's nothing more simple than doing video feedback online. So, see you in November and get ready for doing some really fascinating stuff. Bye-bye.